Matt, thanks for taking the time to chat with me today. You're one of the founding members of the Detroit Real Professionals Mastermind group. You're actually one of the first people I called when I started thinking about Detroit. We've known each other for a long time. Can you talk about your experience in being one of the founders of the group, the vision you had originally anticipated, and then how your experience has been with the group so far?
Sure. Well, back in, I think it was this January this year, you called me, and my first inclination is to screen the call and not call back, but I decided to call you back anyhow. And you kind of told me your concept, that you usually kick it off with an attorney, and asked me to come up with a list of attorneys that would kind of understanding and get what you're trying to do. And in reviewing the list of attorneys, I keyed on Steve Salen, because I remember from our relationships going way back that you were very active with the strategic coach, and Steve had been as well, so I figured that would be a good match. And it turned out Steve was the right guy and was helpful to catalyst to launch the group, and Steve, along with some others, helped create a good dynamic group that contributes very well. I like the opportunity, as my role here at Etkin is business development. I'm looking to bring in new opportunities to the company, be it leasing, management, development. I need to be out there hunting, digging, finding those opportunities. And this was an opportunity for me to meet new people and rekindle old relationships. One of those old relationships was John Godwin with Marcus and Milichat. I had known Mark. I've known John, and actually took a couple CCIM classes with John, 1995, 96. I hadn't really seen John much, because what he does is kind of a different segment of the market that I do. He does investment sales. I do a lot of leasing management. But at the June meeting, I mentioned to John that I had a building that I owned, that I had my tenant that was extending their lease. And because of partnership issues, as people wanted to cash out, it was time to sell the property. So I mentioned to John that I'm, have this property, we're putting a new 10-year lease on it. What do you think? And he goes, I have a 1031 buyer. I sent him the stuff when I got back to the office. We had a meeting with his buyer. We had an agreement within a week in principle, and we had a purchase agreement signed shortly thereafter. Soup to nuts, the deal from beginning of June closed on July 28th timeframe. Steve Salen represented me as the seller. John was my broker. I was the principal. But first I brought it to those guys because I want to see this group succeed and flourish, and I want to do my part to contribute. Plus they all performed and made a deal that I probably would not have been able to make had it not been for my involvement with the group. So I want to see the group continue to flourish and evolve, and do my part to help that along.
Well, thanks. We really appreciate that. Thanks,
Pleasure.
Matt.